Helping your child navigate the trials of growing up is definitely a full-time job. Today, iMom founder Susan Merrill joins us with how to handle your child's frenemy. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to be here.
I'm so glad that we're kind of starting this series with you. We're going to, over the next several weeks, kind of look at different subjects and kind of topics that I know parents and children are kind of struggling with. One of them, I've heard of this term for a while now, frenemy.
Frenemy.
People have them. Explain what it is.
My girls had frenemies, I hate to say, but it's a friend that the friendship actually goes a little wrong. In other words, usually because of jealousy or whatever, the friend starts acting a little bit like an enemy. And whether they're hurting your child's feelings or saying things that are not true, it can get kind of awkward.
And it's kind of that passive aggressiveness that is sometimes hard to process and know how to handle it.
It is. And you know, if the kids are really young, we talked about this earlier, they may not even know that they're doing it.
Right. So if you have that child that is the frenemy, So let's get into some of these things. You say, number one, help your child understand the reasons why this may be going on. Okay.
So if your child is old enough to really understand this, in the case of my daughter and her friend, they really were good friends, but they hit an age where they became more self-aware, and her friend was getting jealous if she played with another friend. And so she then became that passive aggressive, and when they were all together would say mean things to hurt her feelings. So to help my daughter understand that, helped her show her friend a little more grace, and then coach your daughter, you know, make sure your best friend is confident, even as you guys expand your friendships, that they're confident in their friendship so that they don't become insecure.
So still be encouraging, and I love that, extend grace. And I noticed you say her. Is this something that comes up more with females than with the boys?
So you know, I have girls and boys, but in my house this definitely happened more with the girls.
You say accept that some friendships just are not meant to be.
Sometimes we force friendships on our kids. It's, you know, we're friends with the mom, we're friends with their family, and we want them to get along and spend time together when in fact it may not be the best fit for your child. So try to keep that in mind. Don't force friendships where friendships.
Don't put that pressure on them.
It is pressure, and if your child starts to accept it and they're constantly getting their feelings hurt, it can lead to some bad habits.
You say role play relationship strategies. So what's the best way to do this?
So sometimes kids just don't have the words to work through the relationship.
They're learning.
Yes, and if you want them to still be friends, then you have to help them identify what is it that the other child is saying, and then here's a response. So if the child is, you know, putting them down or whatever, to be able to give them the words to look at that friend and say, that hurt my feeling. I don't know if you meant to hurt my feeling, but it did, so can you please not say that? If the friend is truly a friend and not an enemy, that friend will usually receive it and stop themselves a little going forward, because they really will not want to hurt them.
You say, and I love this, I think this is great for adults too, to remind ourselves of this, of pointing out what genuine friendships look like. And again, especially with kids, they're learning what this is.
Yes. I hate to say it, but it is true. The mean girl thing is just getting worse. It's not going to go away. It's social media. And so, you know, when your child does something well, and girls like gets on the soccer team or scores a goal or something, and kids run up to her and say, "Yay, you did it!" Help her identify that's what good friends do for each other.
Genuinely happy for somebody else.
And then say to her when she's struggling with another friend, well, you have a choice. You can choose a friend who's genuinely happy for you, or you can learn to deal with the child who's a frenemy and not always nice.
Well, and before we run out of time too, we got to kind of close up here, but you say most importantly, realize that sometimes you may have to step in as a parent.
Yes.
This goes back to those toxic relationships.
Yes. Sometimes our kids are really confident and they will disengage from a child who's a frenemy themselves, and sometimes they're not. And if there's a toxic relationship, you may have to go back for the child. You may have to go to their school and ask that next year they're in different classes. You may have to help them gracefully decline invitations without being questions. And at the worst case scenario, you may have to talk to the mother and explain why they're kind of disengaging or you're disassociating. It's tough.
Right. Yep, I know it is tough, and that's why we're so thankful we have people like you, certainly a part of the show now, who can help guide us through parenthood. Thank you so much. We look forward to having you back.
Oh, I love being here.